Hello everybody, as I promised, I'm going to reveal what my new upgrade is. And who knows, they know, or what's the saying? Those that know, they know, because of the picture behind. It was an intentional choice not to show my ugly face anymore, but this beast I've upgraded to, and this is the Gryphon Mephisto amplifier. I'm absolutely happy with this. And what I expected from the revelation, and I still don't know if it delivers. It probably does, but I'm happy I went for this one because I will let you know why. It's a tier higher and it's probably a better choice, I don't know. But it's a perfect cross for me of the essence, the tonality, the right neutral tonality, and the energy, meat and weight of the Evo. It's like an essence that has more weight, and on the other hand, it's like an Evo that's illuminated, and that's probably the key word here. Light, brightness, illumination, it's the key word. And there's an extra bonus I didn't hope I could get after having the Evo. I go to a lot of rock gigs and different kind of live music. One reason is I love music. Two, I need to keep my audio memory, reference memory, up to date. So to be able to compare my hi-fi gear to a reference, and to me it's live gigs. I go to different type of gigs, but that's probably a subject for another video. There's a lot of pubs, local pubs with small bands, and they sound best because you are in the near field of the stage, of the instruments, and the instruments are not even mic'd. The drums, the cymbals are not mic'd, and they're not amplified, so they just sound natural. Only the singing and the keyboards and guitars, even the guitars are not mic'd through the PA. They use their own guitar amps, big Marshall amps, and the bass guitar use this head unit and the cap. So that's why they can sound so good, because they are like acoustic instruments. They are separately amplified, if they amplified, and the mixing is done by the room acoustically. So there's no muddiness. It's all clear. And because you are in the near field, all the highs are there. I got distracted. What I originally wanted to say, I had two things where hi-fi gear had always been behind, way behind live music. One was the bass, and the second was dynamics. So the bass pretty much got okay, but you need a certain type of recordings. It depends a lot, especially with a transparent system like this on the recording. But with a good recording, I've got enough bass even without a subwoofer. I've got big Magico S7 speakers, the original ones, with 3 10-inch woofers, and they can make quite a good amount of bass, and this is the good type of bass, not that one-tone muddy bass. It's like any other instrument. It's tuneful. You can just hear the melody the bass guitar plays. So very tight, very nice bass for me to believe I'm at a live gig. So the cables contributed a lot, and the amplifier, the power amplifier mostly, I think. The other thing that was always way behind a live music experience is the dynamism, the dynamics. For a long time, I blamed the recording, and that's part of it. So obviously they have to compress the dynamics so that people can listen to music at night without bothering other family members or the neighbors, have to be able to hear the low details when listening to music in a car, in a noisy environment. So I thought dynamics are missing because of the compression in the recording. And the Evo was better, still behind, but I couldn't believe what this Mephisto delivered. It was way more than what I've ever expected. And it's very funny because I have some audiophile friends, and I was on the phone with one of my friends, audiophile friends, and before I bought or first listened to the Mephisto, and we were talking about my appetite for more dynamics, and he suggested that I might have to try one of those. In the past, they existed. Pioneer made some dynamic expanders. And I thought, yeah, that's a good idea, but obviously letting the signals through something lower quality would cause more harm than benefit, so I just didn't go for it. But it's a good idea. And then I listened to this Mephisto, and the dynamics are all there. It's a live experience. I couldn't believe my ears. Sometimes in the beginning I caught myself thinking that it's even too much. Can't listen to this beast in a relaxed manner, relaxed way. It's like being at a live gig all the time. So if you ever consider buying the Mephisto, don't expect anything relaxing. It gives you what's recorded on the disc or whatever, on the file or the vinyl, on the media you're listening to on the recording. I'm not complaining. I just got what I wanted, and I love it. I love it. It was like live music. So there was a rock pop festival last week, and I was listening to live music at small venues all day. And it's a tradition for me that after a live gig, even though many times my ears are still ringing and I can't hear properly, but I'm used to that, I listen to similar music through my hi-fi and try to compare it, and always failed. So after a while the bass was there and it could hit big and it could pretty much was like almost like live. But once this music started going, the mid-range details just disappeared. And I think it improved a lot with Magical speakers because they sound in the mid-range like electrostatics, so very detailed and clear mid-range. But also they have the dynamics because of the woofers, dynamic drivers. So electrostatics, the problem with them, they can't have loudness and dynamic. Well, these parameters are limited. So even electrostatics use a subwoofer using dynamic drivers, woofers. And then later, when I got home with the Evo, I missed the highs. It was like in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned that it's like a stadium experience, a little bit rolled off a little bit further from the stage. With this one, I'm there. All the cymbals, they are sharp, and all the hiss and scissor and everything is there. And all the bass and the dynamics. So just perfect. And last weekend, I came home and I listened to music, and wow, finally, it's got everything. And if something, many people bash the Mephisto and don't like it and switch back to the Evo or switch to the Evo because it's too much for them. Actually, after a day of being exposed to live music and then listening to similar music at home through my new system, I still found the Gryphon sound, and probably Magical contributed, and I don't know these years, but I think it's mostly Gryphon, on the warm side. So don't blame the Mephisto for being cold. So it plays what's on the recording with the highest fidelity, hi-fi, I've ever heard. And anything I'd heard before was too little, always too little of the real thing. I needed more dynamics, I needed more details, I needed more highs, I needed more bass. And this is the first time ever when I was pondering. Sometimes it's even too much. Like the Mephisto was using a magnifying glass to zoom in on all the details. All the minute details are portrayed perfectly. I've just discovered new little details in well-known songs. I can't believe it. I've had good stuff in the past, but this is just above all. And the same with the dynamics. It just magnifies it. It's quite trendy to compare amplifiers to cars, like sports cars versus a Grand Tourer. And the Mephisto is actually both. It's definitely a sports car with its dynamism, its speed, it's fast, it's powerful, it's there when you step on it, it's there right away. It's almost too much, but it's okay, because that's live music is about. It's like my first sports car was a very lightweight, very powerful one, and it was a little bit twitchy, if you know what I mean. Once you touched the throttle, you didn't want to accelerate so much, it just jumped. It just went. You couldn't really drive it gently because it magnified everything. And I found that it was like if I was in a certain gear, the car behaved as if it was 2 gears lower, in fourth, like if it was in second. And that's what the Mephisto reminds me of. It's big and bold. It was just a good analogy that came to mind. So we haven't talked about soundstage. The Evo was big, but the Mephisto is huge. And I think it's because of the high frequencies. Imaging needs high frequencies. There's air everywhere. It's a huge stage, and you can hear every little detail. That's also partly because the high frequencies are there. So details are mostly in that frequency range, mid and high range. So the Mephisto gives you the sound stage, so it gives you the whole 9 yards, I think. Energy, dynamics, meat, illuminated tonality like the essence. So actually it's neutral. It's not illuminated. Illuminated, I just use this word because compared to the Evo it is. So it's completely neutral, the tonality. And basically everything is neutral and transparent. And I couldn't wish for more. I'm not sure what the successor is. I'm not sure what the revelation is. I'm not sure what the biggest one. What's the name of that big beast compared to which the Mephisto is tiny? It's the apex. So I don't know what these 3 amplifiers sound like, but what the Mephisto is giving me, it's just beyond my expectations, and it's a big thing from me, hearing it from me. I'm a perfectionist, and I'm looking for faults, and I overanalyze everything. Maybe that's why I like an overly analytical, they say, amplifier, because it gives you everything that's there. So the best way to wrap up and to sum up my view on this power amplifier is to tell you the story when I, before first listening to this amp, I promised my audiophile friend to send him a quick message after the first listening. And I only sent 2 numbers. They were 10/10, meaning 10 out of 10. And I meant it. And I still stick to my rating. This was one of those rare upgrades in which it was clear from the first moment that it's something huge. It's going to be a lot better than the one before. I was listening to a female voice, and the first second or millisecond, I don't know, it was clear that, wow, that's the sound I was after. This illuminated song, sorry for using this word again, but I was craving it, actually, some more light. And this female voice was there in my room. It was perfect. So if you listen to the whole video, in places it looks like it's not clear how much I like this amplifier, because I just tried to be a little bit neutral, like the amp, and point out that it might seem, but only in comparison with lesser gear, a little bit too much. But it's easy to get used to the too much, which is actually still not enough compared to live music, but it's up there. And I've always been after that dynamics, and now I got it. And I don't have the rights to say it's too much. Okay, it's too much if you want a lazy afternoon and just have background music. But if you want live music in your living room, that's the best amp I've ever heard. There are a few things I missed throughout the rest of the video. I did talk about two aspects of live music in which hi-fi systems were behind before I listened to the Mephisto, and I mentioned bass and dynamics. And there's another thing which is the high frequencies, that sizzle of the cymbals. So the frequency extremes are not there with lesser systems. Bass is lacking, especially low bass. The highest highs are missing. Also, even old recordings that don't seem to have too much bass. I've noticed it many times. Once you have a system that has speakers like this that go down to 20 Hz or similar, they start having bass. The bass was just way too low for any average system to play it. So those that bash this amplifier, and they say that lesser recordings and old recordings don't sound good, need some improvements to their systems. And finally, let me share something very interesting with you. My experience, my reaction to listening to different amps, Gryphon amplifiers. So first I had the Diablo 300, the old Diablo. When I listened to music, I couldn't have but started dancing. Then came the Essence. I just sat down and started listening to music, and I couldn't stop. My jaw dropped. I couldn't believe how a reproduced music can sound so nice and clear, especially in Class A mode. And I just couldn't stop any track. I wanted to go through many tracks, one after the other, but I got stuck and listened to each one till the end. It sounded so nice. Then came the Evo. I caught myself conducting to the music with my arms. And the Mephisto, I'm in the mosh pit at a live gig. You know, that area when those youngsters it's called slam dance. I'm in the mosh pit, slam dancing on my own in my living room with the amplifier turned up as much as possible. Not as much because these magicos can really reproduce concert level volume.